Hi and welcome to class. My name is Arwen Brooke and today we're going to work you from head to toe using a few props. We're going to use the foam roller, the magic circle, and the Gertie ball. We'll begin kneeling with the roller in our hands and the other props out of the way for now. Okay, so what we're going to do with the roller to begin with is just start kneeling. If you'd rather be standing, you can always do that too in this position especially. I just like to kneel because it keeps me in frame and makes it easier for everyone to see me. So, and it flows into what we're going to do next. But if you'd like to stand, you're welcome. So you're going to hold your roller at either end. Good morning, Kathy. And we're going to start with our spine, just kind of in focus and lifting up. And then see if you can feel how your abdominals support you, keeping your back from arching here. So if I turn to this side, you can see how we might fall into a little bit of an extra arch. So we're going to draw the abdominals in and draw down on the sit bones just to keep a little bit of space in the low back and start to awaken our attention in that center of the body. And then start to press into the ends of the roller. So you're not just holding it, but you're actively sort of gathering inward. And it's just enough effort so that you can feel it. It's nothing too aggressive. I don't want you to feel any strain in your joints, right? And so from here, with the energy pressing inward, gathering inward, feel that from under the armpits, we're going to start to swivel the arms up to the sky and then lower back down and repeat. So to the best of our ability, we're going to keep that pressure on the ends of the roller just to keep the arms activated and also move at the range that fits our comfort in our shoulders. So if you're not getting all the way overhead, that's okay. Please listen to your body. Please listen to those shoulders. And also your low back. Just taking the arms overhead can require some give from our low back. And if it feels at all pinchy, then you just stop before you get into that strenuous place. Okay? As you get to the top next, hold. And we're going to add a little rotation and center and twist and center. Keep going, letting your hips go with. So this isn't just about the upper body. We're going to let everything turn side to side from the knees up and feel that spiral, kind of like a little whirlwind up the center of the body. And when you get to balance on both sides, we'll lower the arms down. Let the shoulders now roll around a few times, up and back, up and back. Good. And then taking the roller now, hi Kathy, out in front of you, press into the ends of your roller. And Kathy, if you don't have your roller, use your ring. Oh, there you go. And start with the arms actively pressing in again. And then swivel, one arm high, one arm low, and repeat. So if you haven't already noticed, we're kind of focusing on the upper body to start and really targeting the connections of the arms into the torso. Hopefully more into the lower connections rather than the neck and the chest. And we'll get to more of that in a moment. Good. And then we'll finish so that you're balanced. Bring the roller down. Now for that opening. So you're going to take the roller around to the back of your body, horizontally, right around tail level. So it's pretty low. And then you're going to slide your arms from wide to narrow. So they're kind of framing the sides of your torso. Wrists straight if you can. Fingertips reaching towards the mat. And then we'll bend the elbows and roll the roller up the back side of the body. And there's not a lot to say about what's happening in the part where the roller meets your body, although it feels kind of nice, a little massage to the sacrum. It's really all about the chest stretch, letting the roller help encourage those shoulders to open back, away from the heart, away from the sternum, and stretch into those pec muscles and give us a little bit of space and ease around the shoulders. Good. And one more like that. Okay. And then lower the roller down and release it. And we're going to set it to the side of our mat. And then I'm turning. If you need to turn as well, you'll do that. And we're going to just set up for a little all fours work. So you're going to take your hands up to the sky and roll down through the spine, bringing your hands forward and down to the mat. Arrive in your all fours position. And then we're just going to find a little bit of movement in the spine. So lifting up out of the wrist, lengthening from head to tail. Begin with the pelvis, drawing the tail and sit bones down the back of the thighs to roll your spine into a cat stretch. And then moving the other direction, reaching your sit bones up to the sky. Let that send a little wave of energy and movement up the spine. So initiating down at the base of the spine, the pelvis rolling over the tops of your thigh bones, feeling into what the state of your spine is this morning. And by spine, I mean also all of the muscles that surround it. So feeling into your low back, noticing where you have any tightness this morning or happiness and joy in your spine. It's really ideal, whatever you find there. We're listening in. So when you come forward next, pause, and we're going to step the left foot forward between the hands. So right out in front of your left hip. Okay? And then just a little inchworm, toes and foot forward just a little bit. So you have a little bit of a wider base. And then from here, you're going to take your hands up to that front knee. See if you can draw that left sit bone down, feeling the downflow of energy on the left side and this lifting up on the right. And then tail drawing down in the back, abdominals lifting up in the front. And then from there, we're going to just weight shift forward so that right hip is opening. And then taking the arms, reach the arms up to the sky. And let's breathe in and feel the air rise up within us to lift us up and give us a spaciousness as we stretch. And then circle the hands around and to the sides. Let's place them back down on the mat. Now you're going to step your left foot out to the left side of the mat. Your left hand will come to the inside of that foot. So I'll move this so you can see. So the hand and foot are alongside one another. The left foot is just to the outside of the mat. And then from here, we're just going to rock forward and back, lunging a little bit deeper and then drawing away from that left foot to add mobility and stretch to that left hip, the right hip too. And then we'll stir this whole energetic pot, moving the pelvis in a circle and letting everything else just flow and follow. And then reverse your direction. And listening in again to this part of your body. What does it have to say this morning? If your back knee is bothered by this pressure, please put some extra padding under there. From here, what we're going to do is find our back foot toes tucked under. Option to keep the knee down, but if you're interested in a little extra sort of engagement through the body, you're going to reach that back heel out and down and let the knee float off the mat. Hold there, breathe. And then on the exhale, we're going to take the left hand off the mat and turn and open to the sky, lifting up out of that right arm and spiraling the shoulders. Let that left shoulder spin back. See if you can feel the left hip also drop back as you spin the right hip forward towards your right hand. And then we'll circle that left hand back to the mat, land the right knee down, and then take the left knee back. And now that roller that we set to the side of us, it's going to be on the right side. If you need to move it, please do. We're going to go into a thread the needle using the roller for support. So we're going to lift the left arm up to the sky and then slide it under. Place the back of your hand on the roller and let it carry your arm as you roll into that deeper twist. And then roll back and just pause when the roller bumps into you, and then take it again into that nice deep supported twist. So you're allowing the support of the roller to carry you and draw you maybe just a little bit deeper into that twist. And we all tend to sort of rock our hips back towards our heels when we do this. So see if you can keep your hips forward over your knees and ask that spine to then absorb that challenge a little bit more, adding a little more rotation there. Okay, one more on that side. And then we'll come all the way back to our all fours position, where we'll then set the roller to the other side just to have it ready. And then we're stepping the right foot forward between the hands and then inchworming the toes out a little bit ahead of the fingertips and then making our way up. So hands to that front knee. Again, feeling a river of energy down on the right side and a lifting up on the left. And then that up comes up the front of the body as well and down in the back. And with all of that flowing energy steady, we're going to lunge forward and then breathe in and feel that rise up through the spine as you lift up, breathing in. And then exhale, circle the hands back to the mat. We're going to step the right foot now to the outside of the mat, right hand to the inside of the right foot, and then just rock forward and back, feeling that sort of heated energy start to liquefy some of that tension around the joints, around the big muscles of the thighs. And then we'll take it into some circular stirring motions that help to just give us even a little bit more sort of information about where we're at this morning. And then spin and circle the other way. And then bring it back to the center. Now again, option to keep the knee down and you'll still do the twist, or tuck the toes under on the left foot and then stretch that leg to straight as you push through that heel and feel the glutes kick in on that left side as you turn and spin, opening your right arm to the sky and looking up if that's comfortable for you. Feel into that engagement of the two legs, right leg pulling back, left leg pulling forward as if you could scissor the legs together. Lightening the load in your arm, and then circle the hand back to the mat. Find your way down with the back knee, and then step your right knee back. And we'll take our right hand up to the sky now, moving into our thread the needle. As you carry that right shoulder under, let it spin to the other side, and then unwind and repeat, spinning, rolling under, and bring it back. And just a couple more. Take your time. If you want to move slower, please do. And if you're in a hurry, enjoy what you're doing as much as you can. So again, keeping the hips forward over the knees will help encourage more of this movement from your spine rather than just absorbing it into the hips. So do that if you can. And then come on back to all fours. We're going to take the roller now in front of us underneath our forearms. So we'll take the elbows to the roller and it'll look like this. And then once you're there, start with your chest forward as much as is comfortable without arching in the back, and then begin to lower and lift your chest towards the roller and away. So you are feeling into the motion of your shoulder blades sliding together, getting scrunchy in the back body, and then that lift that really spreads the shoulder blades wide on your back and also creates this engagement around the shoulder blades, around that trunk connection where your shoulder blades meet your rib cage. So one more like that, hover up. And then keeping that hover, we're gonna just roll the roller forward and back. So you're keeping that lift, but then adding some movement, which is quite a special skill. And then taking the roller just again, right underneath your shoulders. Now we're gonna challenge our balance. So you're gonna stay nice and steady. Slide your right leg back and then lengthen the heel back so your foot's flexed, and then lift and lower that heel. Keeping your hips level, notice if your body wants to kind of sway off center, and make those internal adjustments to keep your heart centered between your elbows and create length on the left side of your body. Keep reaching that left sit bone back. Okay, and then hold it out and up, and we're gonna open it out to the side and pull it back in, reaching the heel wide and center, and wide and center. As the leg comes in, see if you can feel into that energy of gathering in towards your midline from all edges of your being. One more, and then lengthen and land it down. Okay, and then same thing, let's sink and lift one more time, just kind of washing away any stuckness, and then slide the left leg back. Stretch your heel back and up. So our leg movement is really about the hip joint. We're keeping our pelvis nice and stable, not allowing it to rock our pelvis or cause our low back to move. And then on top of all of that, talent you're practicing here, we're also centering our heart between the elbows, creating length on the right side of the body, reaching your right sit bone towards your left heel, and breathing. Practicing that focused breathing that helps connect you each and every breath so that you're not holding your breath and losing that extra support. Now lengthen the leg back, reach to the heel, and then open the heel to the left, and then gather it in, and open and gather. Again, feeling that coming back in as the sort of accented element of the movement. Moving away is also a challenge, but pulling back to center is what we're kind of hoping to train into our bodies so that it happens more and more throughout the day. And last two, and last one, bring it in and land. And then after all of that shoulder activity, let's take the arms along with the roller out away from the knees into a sort of bow position. And then we'll just roll the spine under, tail under, rounding through the waist, and then we'll go back out. So it's cat and cow with the roller, and mostly just all about yumminess now. So I don't want you to be too concerned about technique, but just feeling into what feels good in your body. In a moment, we're going to make it a little bit more difficult, so just enjoy the next two. And the next one. Okay, so your challenge here is to now try to keep your hips over your knees as opposed to going back towards your heels. So as you start to curl the tail under, really focus on your hamstrings and glutes at the back of the legs, kind of cinching the sit bones down towards your knees. And then we'll take the roller in the hands and roll all the way up to high kneeling. Okay, so we're going to repeat that a few times. You're going to take the roller up to the sky, and now as you return to the mat, same idea, keep your hips over the knees. You're going to flex the spine, feel those bottom ribs move back, and then stretch the back of the body like a candy cane as you get closer and closer to the mat, trying to keep those hips forward over the knees. And then maybe the roller touches down, maybe it doesn't. We're not going to land and roll. We're going to just roll back up, practicing that controlled movement. And again, flex the spine, feel the ribs move back, pressing the sit bones forward as if you were in a bridge, right? You're using those glutes a lot. And lower down, fingertips, just holding that roller gently within, and then press into the ends of the roller, gathering inward towards your center again to come back up. We've got one more like that. And again, round, draw those ribs back, spend the time, feel that stretch to the back of the body, press into the roller, create that inward connection. Awesome. And then roll back up to the top. And then we'll lower the roller down. I think it'll be worthwhile to do a little rolling of the quads right now. And when I use the roller in that way, my mat just gets all bunched up, and I have a decent amount of padding on my carpet. So you do not have to do as I do. And if your roller does cause your mat to bunch up, that's okay. I just want to make sure it's not distracting for all of you. So what we're going to do is position our elbows on the mat and our thighs on the roller, and start with a simple motion in the shoulders to bring the hips and torso forward and back, massaging the tops of the thighs. Now we want to get all the muscle fibers of the quadriceps, so you're going to turn your heels in and your toes out to massage a little bit more of the inner quads. And then try the opposite, turn your toes in and your heels out, and notice what you find there. Good. And then try both legs, turning the toes to the right. And I sometimes even will turn my whole upper body a little bit to put that pressure. So now I'm on the outside of my left quad, inside of my right, and it all feels really worthwhile. So same thing to the other side, turning your legs and toes all to the left, maybe your upper body too, and massaging the sides of your thighs just a little bit more. And then coming back from there, we're going to take ourselves to seated on the roller. So roller across the mat, and then have a seat. And we're going to take our hands to the mat behind us, and then tilt your body onto just the right cheek, and then take it the same side, right ankle over left knee. So you're on your right cheek with your right ankle over the knee, and then massaging into that glute. Good. Already got it to do some work this morning, so this is good. I'm going to add a little bit of ease to the same zone. We want strength and flexibility. And then once you're ready, you can make that transition to the other side, crossing left ankle over right knee, putting your weight on your left cheek, and then massaging that whole surface area with rocking side to side or whatever serves you. And then we're going to come back to the start. And then let the roller come in front of the hips. So you're going to have a seat on the mat with the roller under your knees. And then from here, I should make sure I have plenty of room. What we're going to do is just roll down to the mat. So you're now lying on your back with the roller under your knees, and then just going to lift the hips up and place it under your sacrum. And then from there, starting with a good position, ribs are going to start nice and heavy. Then we're going to just take one leg and then the other into tabletop. Okay, let's start with our fabulous hip flexor stretch. Take both hands to your left knee and then lengthen the right leg down and away. And just breathe into that. As you allow the weight of your leg to draw you into a deeper stretch, it happens gradually. You can play with on the left side, drawing your knee in a little closer to help encourage the pelvis to tilt back a little bit more, adding some more leverage to the stretch. And then what we're going to do here is start to bicycle the right leg in and up to the sky, and then let it lower all the way down so it gets quite close to the chest as it comes in, and then goes down and out as far as it needs to get into a stretch. And one more like that. As you make it into the stretch next, pause. And then you're going to bend the knee and place the foot on the mat underneath the knee. So it's really thoughtfully placed right directly below the knee as opposed to like in or out. And keep the knee right in line with the hip joint. Then we're going to transfer our hands to the back of the left thigh. And from here, this is all kind of like subtle stuff, but I want you to try it. And try to reach the left sit bone towards your right knee. So on the leg that's up, that sit bone is reaching towards the right knee, creating length on the left side of your waist. And then on the right leg, feel like you're tucking and bridging on that right side. And then from here, you're going to stretch the left leg to straight and bend. And use your arms to help pull that leg in to a stretch. If your arms are straight and kind of maxed out already, then you're already there. And if your leg doesn't fully lengthen, that's okay. But the stretch is happening nonetheless, and your quads are working to stretch your hamstrings, which is a really beautiful formula, natural design. So let's take the leg long now and leave it out there. Take your hands to the ends of the roller, flex that left foot, and lower the leg down towards the mat. Let it go past the right knee, but keep your ribs heavy. Inhale, kick the leg up, toes point, flex and lower. Inhale up, exhale down. Right leg still hard at work, supporting you, keeping you really stable and in that bridge position. And one more, and then bring the leg up, place the foot down. Take the right leg into tabletop, give the shin a hug, and let the left leg stretch out into your stretch. Again, reaching the right sit bone now towards the left ankle is going to support that balance in the pelvis. That's where a lot of our sort of dysfunction sort of originates from, is some held position in the pelvis that isn't where it belongs. So looking for that balance in everything we do. And then bring the leg in and up and stretch it down and away. And just cycling through this flow, letting the air kind of support you as you move through, like it's a little bit more of a thick sort of liquid that you are moving through. And then we'll take the leg long and down, bend the knee, place the foot. Find that position where you feel all four corners of the foot on the mat, or if you had a roller skate on, all four wheels of that roller skate. Draw that right sit bone down towards your left knee, and then hands behind the thigh on the right, and we stretch the leg up to the sky and bend. So the challenge here is to keep that right sit bone reaching towards your left knee the whole time, and then on the left leg again, tucking as if you're moving into a bridge. So I don't want you or expect you to lift off of the roller. It's just that you're working as if the roller weren't there, because the roller is going to make sure we stay in a good position, but you're practicing. It's like doing a dress rehearsal, but with a little bit of support. And then take the leg long and hold, hands to the ends of the roller, ribs heavy, flex the foot and lower it down. Inhale up, exhale, flex and lower. And So as the legs lower, the abdominals need to work more to keep the ribs melting down. Notice there's a pull there to have the ribs lift if we're not aware. And last one, and then bend the knee, placing the foot down. Okay, let's take both knees in a tabletop and then find the legs stretched up long to the sky. And here we're going to try double leg lowers. So as before, you're going to think about the ribs staying heavy as you lower the legs down, and only go as far as you can keep the ribs heavy, which will in turn help keep your pelvis stable in the position we have it, which is in that 12 o'clock tilt, or tilted so that your low back is low to the ground. And again, so there's no right answer that fits, no one size fits all rather, for how low your legs should go. It's internally that you'll know if you're arching in the back as the legs go down, you've gone too far. Or maybe you can kick into your low abdominals and low glutes a little bit more. We'll just do one more. And then legs up to the sky. Now we're going to take the right leg down and away, left leg overhead, and then reaching the legs out to the sides. They're both going to trace a giant circle in the sky, kind of moving away from one another, always circling opposite one another into this nice helicopter motion. So I know some of you have limited space, and I appreciate that you might not be able to do this as fully as I'm demonstrating. If you need to keep your circle a little tighter, that's okay. But if you can, really lean into the edges of your circle. So you're letting your thigh bones really sort of fall into a stretch here. And then we're going to play with even a little bit more range of motion. So again, apologies if this doesn't work into your space, but as you circle, I'm going to say as the left leg comes overhead, right leg comes down, we're going to let the left leg cross over the body, and you're going to roll onto the outside of your right hip. And then you'll reverse it, circle the left leg around to the left, right leg will come up towards your nose, over towards your left shoulder, and you'll twist your spine to roll onto the left hip. So, option to go big if that is something you have room to and you're feeling like you're enjoying yourself. An option to stay with the smaller helicopter if that's what you have the space for. And then try this in your larger spaces sometime soon, because it's really quite fun. We're going to just go one more time to our second side to finish, and then bring your legs back together at the top. Bend the knees and land your feet on the mat. Now we're going to take our roller underneath our feet. And if you can, find your ring now. We're going to use it in just a moment. But before we do, I'm going to have you place your feet on the roller and find your spine, neutral on the mat, and then we'll do a little bit of bridging. So it always starts with that 12 o'clock tilt, or that scoop and curl of the tail under, and then we peel up into our bridge. And then scoop and curl back down. And as you do this, see if you can find the shoulders heavy. Feel the rib cage still heavy. It's that same skill we've been practicing of feeling the ribs stay heavy as the hips roll off of the mat and back down. On the next one, you're going to stay up. So finding your way into a good, comfortable bridge, although I know we're really engaging through the hamstrings. If you want to keep your feet on the mat because this is just really uncomfortable for you, please do that. What we're going to do next is move the roller a little bit out and then back in. So like 1 inch out and then 2 inches in. And I want you to imagine that you're bringing the roller in not from your feet, but from your buns, like you're tucking the tail under more and actually hovering your booty up to give room for your heels to come underneath. And just 3 more, and 2, and 1, and then lower down. Keep the roller in as you melt your way into the mat. Okay, now we're going to find that ring of ours. And I'm going to have you start with something quite awesome. You're going to take your right knee to one side of the ring with a pad on the knee, and then you're going to take your opposite elbow to the opposite pad. Hands behind the head. And while you're not going to curl very high, because your ring is going to sort of be a little bit of an obstruction there, you're going to sink the bottom ribs and really focus on that movement through your spine. So the ribs drop down and you flex through the spine like a bendy straw, and then you're just going to hold and breathe. and feel into that connection of your knee and elbow pressing into the ring, but really it's from the hip and the armpit, that serratus and oblique connection, gathering you together in the center, but in this diagonal across your body. Tons of work there in those obliques. And then on top of the knee coming in, see if you can reach that right sit bone towards the roller for that leveling of the pelvis again. And 3 more breaths. And 2. And 1. And then lower down. Oh. So on to the next side. So I know many of us like to work our obliques because it feels really challenging and we can feel ourselves getting stronger. And I just want to add value to that your obliques are a huge part of that balance in your pelvis. It keeps us in a comfortable sort of experience in our bodies. So again, feel your ribs sink down. Feel your spine move into that bendy straw position. And then reach your left sit bone towards the roller. Feeling the gathering from hip to shoulder, armpit to low abdominals on the opposite side, and keep breathing. Excuse my barking dog. And then come on back to the mat, feeling nice and warmed up. Now we're going to take the ring into position behind the head. So the pad of one side supports the base of the skull, not the neck. And then send your palms into the other pad and your elbows forward and your shoulders down. So your neck feels nice and long. And then feel into that again, that sinking of the rib cage to initiate any movement in the spine. So when I say rib cage, I mean the low ribs. You have, you can be aware of the front and the back. In the back, the low ribs really come down into the mat. In the front, you'll feel the front low ribs sink as well. And again, we're going to do that one more time. Come up and hold and just stay there. See if you can get your elbows to really reach forward in space a little bit more, coming from underneath the armpits, and the bottom ribs just sink a little deeper. And then from here, you're going to use the lower body. You're going to inhale, let the legs roll out a little bit. Exhale, curl the tail under and scoop the belly in. Inhale out. Exhale, curl the tail under. So I'm not cueing you to actually get your hips off the mat into a bridge, but you are going to curl the tail under and hover your tail away from the mat just a little bit more. And again. And one more time. And then roll it down. Okay, from here, moving the roller now out, or I'm sorry, the ring out from under the head. We're going to go into some full roll-ups. So I recommend keeping the ring, but if you want to use your hands in a different way, you're welcome to. What we're going to do with the ring is try to feel into that connection inward again. So arms strong and straight, shoulders dropped down away from the ears and back into the mat. And then pressing into the ring will help awaken that serratus connection into your obliques that you just worked. From here, we're going to inhale the arms back. Exhale, start to reach the ring forward, arms forward. The roller will move out as you roll up and then stretch towards your toes. And then from here, exhale, curl the tail under, roll back, and start to bend the knees, pushing the heels down into the roller, imprinting through the low waist and coming all the way down. And again, starting again with the ring in the arms, pressing forward, using the legs on the roller to help find that smooth transition from mat to seated, and then rolling back, curl the tail under, bend the knees, press the heels into the roller, utilizing those hamstrings and glutes to help make the legs a part of your roll up. It's like a huge chunk of energy. So percentage wise, your abdominals are doing a lot of this, but it's like it might be 50-50 abdominals and glutes and hamstrings if it's not 60-40. So don't undervalue those legs. We're going to bend the knees and come all the way down one more time and then rest there. All right, let's set the ring aside and then take the roller into the space between our legs. You're going to place it so that the top end is between your inner thighs, not just the knees, but up into the space between your inner thigh muscles. And then hug into the roller with your inner ankles and your inner foot.
Okay, and then keeping the low back on the mat will make this feel safe throughout. And then taking your hands around to the back of your head. Take a nice deep breath in, and on the exhale, we're gonna scoop the belly in, sink those bottom ribs, feel the elbows stretch wide and forward, and we're up into our ab curl. And then from here, we're gonna scoop the belly, keep the low back really imprinted into the mat, and let the legs lower away, but without letting the back lift off. So there's very little chance you're getting your toes or the roller to touch down, but you're letting the hip joints open and then float back in and up, feeling into those low abdominals, squeeze into the roller to cue those inner thighs and low abs to work together as they like to do. And 2 more, and up, and 1 more, and up, and hold. Lower the head and shoulders down. Take a breath. We're coming up for 1 more abdominal adventure here. Sink the shoulders, reach the elbows forward and wide, ribs get heavy, and now we're going to spin the knees. So aim the toe end of your roller to the right, and then turn your head and shoulders to the right as well, and then swivel to the other side. And this is a little crisscross like movement. You can imagine your roller is like a fire hose. Water shooting out of the toe end, and you're aiming the water in the direction you're looking. And good. And then we'll make it even to both sides. Come on back to center and rest down. Awesome. Okay, setting all props aside, let's rock and roll up to seated. I'm going to grab the Gertie ball now, and we're going to have it handy. Let me move these out of the way so visibility is a little bit more clean. And then we're going to take the Gertie ball with us. Actually, first, before we do that, just set the ball out in front of you. You're going to take your hands folded in front of your forehead, and we're just going to reach back and take hold of one of our ankles for a stretch for that quad family. So let's do the left leg together first. Unless you're already set up on the right, that's fine. Just breathe and think about the front of the pelvis. So you have your hips, the joint where your thigh bones meet your pelvis. It's kind of where your hip pockets would be if you're wearing a pair of jeans. So see if you can feel both sides really heavy on the mat. For me, if I'm not really on top of it, my right side is kind of lifting away from the mat while I'm in this stretch. So just be an observer. See if you can ground both sides down, and then release. And now switch sides. Again, thinking about your 2 sides, your hip pockets, grounding them down. And similarly on this side, the left side wants to be lighter than the right. So just be aware and do what you can to really anchor both sides down. In the meantime, reaching your right knee down the left leg, keeping that idea of length, and gathering your knee in towards your center so it's still in good alignment. And then we'll release. Okay, so now for the ball. If you don't have one, you can do all of this without the ball. But if you have one, you're going to tuck it under your chest right at the center where your sternum is. And then find that comfortable position where you can lower down over it. So I'm going to have you start with your arms stretched back behind you or alongside your body, palms up. And then let your whole upper body fall over the ball. So your ribs are kind of stretched open in the back. And then what we'll do is we'll start with the shoulders, just reaching the fingertips down towards your toes, and then opening the shoulders away from the mat. And now move the ball forward by simply gliding your sternum forward over the ball, and feel the back ribs gather together. Like an accordion, right? You got the ability to stretch them apart, or like a slinky with the coils opening away from one another and then coming together. We're talking about the ribs right between or around the shoulder blade level. So it's not as much about the low back here, lowering down and then reaching forward and up. While you're doing this, can those hips stay open into the mat? Can you find the glutes in the back of the body to help keep your pelvis nice and grounded and make this movement in the spine feel really light and effortless? And then as you come up on the next one, hold. And we're going to circle the left arm overhead with the palm facing in, and then just reach through the fingertips of both hands to side bend over to the right and center. And reach through the fingertips on the left and right, letting that cause you to Stretch your chest forward, but also add a little side bend, activating the right sort of upper back. And then center, circle the right arm overhead. Left arm down by your side. Soft elbows are allowed here. And then reach and keep the chest forward as you side bend. Now, if you haven't thought about your glutes in a while, bring your attention there, keeping the hips heavy. And one more. And center, both arms back, lower your head down. And now again, reach the chest forward, shoulders back, float the palms, and we're gonna circle the arms out to the front, fly like superheroes, and then circle the arms back. As the arms come forward, let your chest come down a little bit. As the arms come back, glide the heart forward even more. And again, forward and back. Let's do palms up to the front, and then palms up to the back, but with a spiral through the arms as you transition in each direction. Internally rotated here, externally rotated here. Last one, coming up, hold. Now keep the shoulders back, bring the glutes to life for real this time. Float the legs off the mat and squeeze those heels together. Pressing your pelvis into the mat, heavy through the tail, lifted through the abdominals. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down, rest. Take your hands to the mat and help yourself off of the ball. And give yourself a chance to stretch into a child's pose. Take your knees together or apart and just rest into that position and that breath. And then when you're ready, I'm going to ask you to come back up for just a moment, and we're going to use the Gertie ball in the same position. If you didn't have this, you could use your couch cushions or something else, but we're going to place it on our lap and then just let your whole body rest forward again over the ball, same as before. And as is intended in this rest position, always, but especially now, see if you can just really allow gravity to take you gradually closer and closer to the ground. As you breathe in, you'll feel the lifting off because your breath is inflating your lungs and it's pushing into the ball, lifting up, and then sink a little deeper. But as you continue to breathe, your breath is going to start to encourage more stretch here in the back of the ribs, and so the front of your ribs won't maybe move as much. And maybe you'll be lifting off a little less, but sinking a little deeper each time. So we're stretching the places that we worked just moments ago. Good. And then when you're ready, rolling up. Okay, so let's take the Gertie ball and place it between the knees. Right in and up between the thighs, and then find your ring. Okay, so what we're going to do here is our thigh stretch exercise, and what I'm going to cue you into is that awareness of your ribs. So thinking again about this front and back zone. We've stretched back here so that we're not quite as tight and prone to this action. So see if you can feel into that. You're going to breathe into those back ribs, and then you're going to use your exhale and abdominals to help keep this from sort of busting open, okay? So starting with your ring stretched out in front of you, shoulders down and back, energy between the arms, and then pull up on the abdominals, pull up on the pubic bone, down on the sit bones, moving into that same kind of bridge-like awareness. Squeeze your ball, and then think about moving the bottom ribs back to lean back and come on back up. And again, as the bottom ribs glide back, the pelvis is tilting, and we're hinging from the knee right here. That's the only joint that's moving in theory. And if you are, again, experiencing discomfort in the knees, it's helpful to pad that space a little extra, and also that Gertie ball squeezing your inner thighs makes this a lot more safe and friendly for the knees. Okay, let's take a couple more. This time as you go back, same. As you come up, arms overhead. Back, arms forward. Inhale, arms up. 2 more. And up. 1 more.
and up. And then lengthen the arms down. I'm going to have you take the ball down from between the knees and walk your knees just a tiny bit wider, and then bring your heels together. So the change in your knee position is slight, but just gives you enough space to have your heels together behind you. And now you're in a turnout. Same exercise, pubic bone lifting in and up, and abdominals snug. And then we're gonna go squeeze those buns, lean back, and come back up. If you have any discomfort in your knees, you don't need to keep the turnout. Come back to parallel. We'll just do 5 and 4. Squeezing those buns, tucking the tail under. 2, and last 1. And then coming all the way up, reach the ring to the sky, and then curl the tail under and round your spine, bringing the ring towards the mat. As you come down, reset your feet and knees in parallel. And we're going to put the ring between our biceps. So, like so. And then we're going to set up in an all fours position. Okay, so as you find your position, just stretch out long through the spine, and notice that to squeeze the ring, it requires that you go from sort of a slight bend in the elbow to a straight arm that requires those triceps to work, which is really powerful, good work for our arms and shoulders. And then from here, we're going to step the left foot back into our plank position and our right foot back as well. Holding there, draw the toes and thighs together and breathe. And just keep stretching the heels towards the mat, the chest forward, lifting those bottom ribs and thinking about those hip pockets kind of opening towards the mat. And then lower the knees down and reset. We're going to take the toes tucked under in this bent knee position now and curl the head and tail under and round the spine and keep rounding, squeezing the ring, and hover the knees off of the mat. And hold for 3, 2, 1. Lower the knees. Beautiful. This time step the right leg back into plank and step the left leg back. Hold and squeeze. And let's start with the ribs lifting, hip pockets opening, and then lift the right foot. Set it down. Lift the left foot. Set it down. One more each side. And down and left. And down, and then land the knees down and rest. If you need to take a break from the ring, feel free. If you're ready to pursue or go on, you're going to take the same rounded spine, the cat stretch. Curl the head and tail under, lift those bottom ribs, and hover those knees. And 5, 4, 3, 2, squeeze the ring, 1, and lower down and release. Let's take the hips back to the heels, and then take the ring behind the shoulders, behind the hips. Hold there, and then float the ring overhead as you bow forward, allowing those shoulders to stretch. And then take your next inhale to reset and prepare. Use your exhale to curl all the way up with the spine. Awesome work. Okay, let's take the roller now. I'm going to put these things a little bit over to the side and place the roller on the mat, crosswise behind the shoulders. And then from here, we're going to lower the shoulders onto the roller, supporting the head and the hands, and then take your feet into parallel. We'll lift the hips first, support this position with a little ab curl, and rock and roll a massage into that upper back, that zone that we have been talking a lot about, breathing into, asking to move and stretch and engage. So hopefully this all feels really nice. And then we're going to be in my position drifting. You're going to hold that position and then focus on the lower half of the body a little bit more as you start with the upper body a little bit rounded, and then curl the tail under to press up into a bridge. So it's like the same position you were in, but a little extra connected. Abdominals sinking, glutes working. And then from here, you're going to let the upper body fall back a little bit, and then exhale, curl a little deeper. So the tuck of the tail, much like our cat stretch.
And then again, head and tail curling under. And one more time. And then hold there and stay steady and try to keep the hips level as you float your right leg in a tabletop. And then lower it down. Deepen the abdominals, deepen the glutes, standing strong on that standing leg, and lower. And down. And down. One more each side. Soft shoulders, chest open. And left side. And down. And then roll the hips to the mat. Now we're going to turn onto our side, and I'm on my right side, so I'll cue that, but if you happen to want to start on the other side, that's fine. And you can do a little sort of massage just into the ribs behind your armpit. So you don't want to go right into the armpit. It's a little tender and needs a little extra care there, but right behind are your bigger muscles of your lats and some other stuff. So we're just massaging there. Then you're going to take your top elbow and bring it all the way forward towards the mat into a twist. And then take your top elbow and spin it all the way open towards the back, and let your head spill back in your hands. Stretching everything from side to side, armpit to armpit, across the chest and shoulders. And yes, there might be some really intense massagey sensations on the underside of your rib cage. So go slow and keep breathing. We're just going to do about 3 before we switch sides. But if you have a lot of tightness here or tenderness here, it's really worth giving it some love. It can really be a part of what's wreaking havoc on the rest of your body, from your shoulders and neck to your low back. So now we'll just roll to the center and make our way to the other side. And to save time, I'm just going to go ahead and do that rather than flipping over. And again, a little massage, rocking and rolling through side bendy movement. Noticing what's different about your second side. We all use our arms pretty 100% guaranteed. We use our left arm and our right arm differently. So we have different stories and experiences there. Take your right elbow forward now towards the mat. And then roll gently, smoothly, slowly back. Hang into the twist. Keeping your knees stacked and your head released into your hands, so you're not doing any extra efforting in the neck. And then centering back to the front one more time. Stretch and enjoy what's moving. Enjoy the invitation to open, even if it's intense or a little bit stiffer than you'd like. And then as you find your way through about 3 of those, you come back to center. Go for another little bit of massage to the mid-back. And then we'll just land the hips down and let the roller slide under the neck. So it's like a pillow for your head for just a moment, and under the neck. Snug into the neck, as a matter of fact. And then just gently rock the head side to side. Massaging again, those connections where the muscles of the neck come up and attach to the base of your skull. And then maybe move the roller an inch further back so that it's now more specifically under the base of your skull. And if you forgot to tie your hair up like me, you might just end up rolling over it a little bit, but you'll figure that out, I'm sure. And then maybe one more adjustment. As you get further up the back of the head, it definitely helps to hold on to the roller so it doesn't roll away. But you might find that you have some like tension in your scalp as you roll side to side. Like I'm up around the scalp just behind and above the ears, and it's tender. And I'm not surprised because I've sensed into this before, but it's still something you might not have looked for otherwise. And then take the head all the way to the mat. Release the roller out of the way and just enjoy a little bit of spaciousness on the back of the body. And then we'll take one leg into the air and the other. Take hold of the back of the legs, and I'm just going to have you rock and roll up to seated. You can cross your ankles and roll onto your knees. I'm going to turn since I'm out of space. And then we're just going to take our hands to the mat in front of us and take our toes tucked under. So soften the shoulders first away from the ears. Make that set up nice and powerful and clear. And then lift the hips up and back, and we'll find our way into a downward dog. As you make your way into this position, soft knees are always allowed, but shoulders in the of the utmost importance are really drawn down towards the back pockets, or allowed to slide towards the back pockets, while the head is allowed to hang forward towards the hands. And then stretch the heels maybe towards the mat. And let's all go into a little running in place to invite a little bit more movement and stretch into those ankles and feet. Our precious, beautiful feet. And then bring your hands towards your toes, walking yourself into a forward bend. You're always welcome to walk a different path if you'd like, because we're just working our way up to standing. But hold your elbows here if you're in that forward bend for a moment. Let gravity, again, offer you that traction to your spine that also creates space between the ribs and the back of the body. Your eyes are looking through the legs or towards your belly button. And you're just surrendering for a moment into gravity. Your knees are soft. And then we'll start with a deeper knee bend. Inhale. Exhale, curl the tail under, but lift your ribs away from the thighs. Release your arms and roll up to standing. Okay, at the top, we're gonna just get sort of situated and wardrobe adjusted, and then spin your arms around your center. Okay. Giving our spine that little TLC after all that big, powerful, mighty movement. And then from here, pause, turning to the side so you can see. What we're gonna do is take our left foot forward about halfway into a lunge, so it's not a very big step. Kind of moderate. And then what we'll be doing next, hands on hips, that'll help keep you aware of the sort of levelness of them. I like to picture that I have a tutu on here so that it stays nice and level. Then we're going to bend both knees. That'll bring your back heel possibly off of the mat. And then from here, imagining that you are, standing, or at least standing on this right knee as you did in your thigh stretch. Again, we're going to, from that knee, tuck the tail under and lean back. So we're doing that thigh stretch again, but with our legs in a very different position. So again, from that knee, your belly button draws in and your pubic bone lifts up, your tail draws down, and we lean back, stretching that right quad, and then coming back up. And one more time like that. Tuck, tilt the pelvis back, lean back, and come on back up. Straighten both legs, step the feet together. Right foot forward, hips level, bend both knees, lift up on the front, curl the tail under, and lean back. And then coming up, and again, tilt. Find those glutes and really use them here. And up, and one more time. Just a little motion. It doesn't have to be huge. Rocking back, and then come together, straightening the legs, stepping the feet back. And then let's bring the heels together, toes apart, and squeeze up the midline, feeling the inner thighs connect, the glutes connect, the abdominals connect. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale here, reach the arms wide and squeezing your heels together, float up to your toes. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, heels come down. And again, reach, squeeze into the heels. Use your abdominals lifting up to make it feel like you're just levitating. Inhale back to the ground. And one more time, lifting the abdominals, feel that hover. Good. Keep your heels up. Take your arms back up to the sky. We'll bring our palms together and then keep our hearts lifted as we reach our heels into the ground, and then pull our hearts even higher as we settle the hands down in front of the heart.
Well done, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I hope you feel amazing and go on having an amazing day. So if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. And you can also follow me on Instagram at @ArwenBrooke_Pilates for news and updates. Also comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback and we'll reply. So just let me know how you're doing and we'll talk soon. Have a great day.